Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Big Screen Show. My name is Victor,
I'm Jorge.
I'm Alex.
and we are back for our Loki Season 2, Episode 5 recap and review. We did miss last week's Episode 4. I was once again having some medical issues, but nonetheless, we are back for this 5th episode, and we're excited because this episode was insane. I want to go around here, everybody's general thoughts. Alex, why don't you go first?
All right, so honestly, this at least episode of Loki was pretty crazy. Where we literally went to like these we went really crazy. Where we went to these different branch timelines and everything. Where we got to see these different branch timeline versions of Loki's team, his friends, which I thought was pretty interesting and crazy. Well, I will say not much could really. There's really not much you could say really happened in this episode besides just seeing where everyone is. It's basically just gathering up the group again for like the final episode. Which I'm not really complaining as much. We did get something out of it, but I will say what really got us is basically at the end of the episode where the episode literally just felt like the ending of Infinity War with that same feeling and everything, but instead of like just like dust, we just got like spaghetti noodles, like from like Multiverse of Madness after like Scarlet Witch like basically turned Mr. Fantastic into like spaghetti noodles after she completely destroyed him.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, for me, like, this episode was such a cool journey to like go and like find all his friends, but his friends weren't really his friends because they weren't remembering him. And obviously, we'll get into the details later. But I thought it was a really cool journey, and I just think the ending was insane because I think you and we watched the episode together, and we talked about it after how it just has this feeling of like Loki should be like more at the center of the MCU.
Yeah.
And it just really like at the end of it, you really have that vibe. And I just hope they run with that. And I can't wait for next week's episode. But 2 thumbs up for me on this episode. Like last week's episode, even though we didn't talk about it and make a video on it, but last week's episode combined with this week's episode, huge. Like, I don't want to say turnaround for the season, but more like, I guess it was a slow build up to get to where we thought we would go. And now we're here and it's amazing. Basically, that's how I feel. Yeah. What about you?
Well, kind of agree with both of you. I think this episode, along with the last episode, episode 4, it's kind of like together. It's like part 1, part 2. In a way, I know it's a short season, obviously, but it does feel like they stand out from the other episodes. The first 3. Again, I love. Well, I really like that we got to see like the the workers at the TVA, especially the characters that we know and we love, their lives, their normal lives in branch timelines. It was like this like hunt or journey, to look for all these people, to be able to come back together and fix the TVA pretty much.
Right.
But it was pretty interesting because one thing that I do appreciate about this episode is that they focus on Loki a lot, right? So we were going with Loki along in the journey, right? Whereas in these whole episodes in the past, like Loki has been obviously like the main focus and the most important, but there's so many things going on as well that Loki kind of fades away, between all that chaos, But in this one, like I feel like he was the lead in the episode, so I really like that because I was missing that feeling a little bit.
Okay.
And again, like the finale of this episode, the ending, mind blowing again. It's like episode after episode, somehow Loki keeps getting better and better and more interesting, and you just can't wait to see what's gonna happen. I love this show because it really doesn't give you any clue to how they're gonna come out. Like how are they gonna go? Which route are they gonna take? Like season 1, they surprised everyone in episode 6. Bringing Kang, because everybody thought that the last, he who remained, whatever, was gonna be another variant of Loki. But Marvel and Kevin Feige said, "No, we're gonna surprise you guys. We're gonna bring something epic." They did with this season 2. They're bringing another concept that is equally as dangerous to the multiverse and the MCU in general. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait for Loki. This is my favorite MCU show by far, and we're just 1 week away from the finale. So let's see what it has prepared for us. But for now, let's just dive into this episode.
Yeah, I agree. I want to touch on this episode. One thing that it just kind of you because you told me this off camera after we watched this episode, so I kind of want to like discuss that a little bit between us three. But you were saying how like if you want to elaborate like how Loki should be more at the center of the MCU after this. I mean, let's go ahead and just jump to the ending really quick and talk about the big thing, right? Loki unlocks his new power.
Yeah.
He is able to control his time looping. What's it called again?
Time slipping.
His time slipping. Loki is able to control his time slipping. That is huge.
Yeah.
That is now really, really big. And according to what you were telling me after we watched the episode, this makes Loki insanely powerful, and I agree.
The same level of entities, the Watcher, Eternity, like he's omnipresent at this point.
Right.
He can be anywhere at any point at any time. So,
right. Alex, what are your thoughts on that?
But for me, I'm kind of wondering, like, he is able to control his time slipping, everything, because, like, the reason why, as we find out, is because, like, he gets his perspective, like, he does this, like, not for, like, because of, like, temporal aura of finding his friends, but also because, like, he found the one place that he belongs. So he found these friends, like, his new home, you could say, and then, like, him, like, being able to, like, kind of gather up, like, his reason why he's emotional and just kind of unlock that. I really did like that, since like it probably is like the greatest piece of like character development for Loki, as what you were saying, Jorge. It really does make Loki more like the central focus in this episode, as you were talking about, as you say he should be. I do wonder, like, once they do fix this problem, is this time slipping thing really gonna go away after that, or is it somehow gonna find its way later on into like the movies with like like the Kang Dynasty or something like that?
Yeah, I think it will. I have some theories about it.
If you wanna go ahead.
Yeah, I think personally, obviously, we're very fans, and I see rumors, I follow insiders and stuff, and I've seen some information. I mean, this is not a spoiler because obviously nothing is confirmed. There's nothing official.
Right.
This is just theoretical, yeah. But I believe that Loki somehow in future movies is gonna be literally the one in charge to put the multiversal team. So like he's gonna go to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and recruit him, and he's gonna go to Deadpool and recruit him, and he's gonna go to Blade and Toby's Spider-Man. So he's gonna be the one in charge, along with Mobius, to literally pull these like the best superheroes of every Marvel universe. Yeah. And bring them to Earth to be able to fight the threats from whatever it is, if it's Kang or Doctor Doom or the universe where Wanda killed Mr. Fantastic, as Alex said, because they're probably pissed too. They're like, somebody from another universe came, killed our Illuminati's members, and then bounced. Like, we need revenge. So we'll see what's gonna happen. But yeah, as you said, right now Loki is literally, to me, the best written character in the whole MCU. And I think he's, I'll say, top 5 pillars of characters in the MCU. And I think that Marvel should kind of change their approach and make Loki that next Iron Man, because we had Iron Man in a more grounded environment on Earth, but now we can have Loki in a multiversal scale, leading, literally being the face of the MCU. Everybody knows Loki. Everybody loves Tom Hiddleston. He's a great character. His seasons has been fantastic, which you can say that with other shows of Marvel. So why not, Who else is important as Loki and catches as much people as Loki? You don't have any.
That's a very fair point.
Well, Spider-Man, you got Peter for sure, but Peter is very local,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very like friendly neighborhood, like street level wise,
Exactly.
Even though he has like he has saved the world, but I do get what you're coming from, and honestly, I could definitely see Loki as being more like this more important figure on like the more multiversal side of things, as for like these major threats and things like that. where this kind of takes the place of like some other superhero organizations or things like that. But I would like that. But I also heard current rumors about how like after Secret Wars, they're basically trying to do like a whole reboot restart of like the Marvel universe and trying to bring back all the dead characters of like the
Oh
main
yeah,
Avengers team and things like that.
Yeah.
yeah. So
So end result, I wouldn't think that would really work for Loki's case if that actually does come out to be true, which it
no,
probably will, since
I just a side note, my thoughts on that. Like rumor is, I don't think it will happen, but we'll see. But you're right. If that does happen, that does not bode well for, I guess, your theory, obviously. However, I just want to note, as far as his theory is concerned, I don't know how I feel about it when it comes to if I think it will or will not happen. But I said this, I would love for it to happen. Because I love Loki. You know I love Loki, Alex. Like, Loki's been one of my favorites. And, like, him on the Marvel side and, like, Riddler on the DC side. Like, I, again, will say this. You guys will hear me say it in multiple videos probably. But I am not a villain guy. I love my good guys. I'm a fan of the good guys. I will never like the bad guys. But something about these two bad guys I just like. Like, just something about them. They're like quirkiness and they're not like the biggest threat ever. And they, like obviously like Batman's number one is the Joker, but like, something about Riddler, just I have this attachment, and something about Loki, I've had this attachment. And now to see him be in this situation where you're right, like right now in the MCU as it stands, no one is more important than Loki. No. Not a single person.
that's true.
And that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Like
and
between all the chaos that Marvel has been through, especially in Phase 4, they managed to make probably like one of the best characters they have written so far, like like props to Marvel in that regard for sure.
See, I have faith in them. I still have faith in Marvel. I think by the time that we go into theaters and see the last one, is that Secret Wars? Secret Wars is the last project planned right now.
I thought you were gonna say the Marvels.
No,
no, definitely not that.
The last big project planned right now is Secret Wars, right?
Yes, sir.
I think by the time we go into theaters and leave the theaters after seeing Secret Wars, I think we will understand everything and all the doubt and all the worry that we had in this last, say, year and a half or so will be put to rest. I truly believe that. I just think right now they're in an introductory phase. They're just introducing these new characters that will be important in these because there's like, we had to expand from the core. Like, the Infinity Saga was just like the core. And now we're expanding because Secret Wars should, in theory, have like literally like, I mean, like you said, like all these like Blade and like, but like both Blades, like 2005 Blade and like the new Blade, like
it was 1990. It was 1998 Blade.
Oh, 1998. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay. 1998. Sorry, my bad. But you get my point. Like that's how I see Secret Wars panning out, and I hope it pans out that way. And if Loki is in the center of that. Holy cow, bro! It's already a 10. The idea is a 10.
Yeah.
Honestly, the idea is a 10. So like, if they
like imagine a multiversal war instead of like Steve, in Avengers Endgame, like leading the battalion. Toward Thanos, it's Loki. Like literally, like
dude,
leading the whole battalion with Hugh Jackman.
Imagine his brother's next to him too, though. Thor's next to him, dude. That'd be sick.
Like finally seeing Loki's potential fully unlocked.
Yeah,
being that is my brother.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the chills right now, dude.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy. Marvel, if you're somehow watching this, please do it.
Do it.
But. Let's talk about this episode a little bit deeper though. That was fun. I like that. I agree. Alex, would you be down if that actually? Because I didn't get your thoughts on it, but would you be down if that was the plot of Secret Wars?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind. I definitely could see that being like a major part of its plot because like Loki is like literally the best introduction for this whole multiversal thing and these variant timelines and stuff like that. Because I know we got like an introduction of that with like Quantumania, but it doesn't really go much in depth on that one per se. So like Loki's pretty much the only best person for this, especially since he's the one that has like more knowledge of like Kang and his variants better than like anyone in the MCU so far. So like he's like the best person.
Yeah, he's the most knowledge. Like again, we've talked about it as we've moved through the series and have recorded and talked on here about it. it's crazy to see Loki live through this while nobody that he's interacting with fully understands like the threat level of what's like currently kind of brewing, behind the scenes. So
and like like the character from Earth, they have no clue. Like,
oh yeah, they're
or not
clueless.
from Earth, but like from like the universe,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, in general.
yeah, like
Danvers has no idea.
right, like nobody.
Yeah.
Like the Guardians have no idea, the Avengers have no idea.
Yeah.
Like
They're like chilling back, excited because Thanos just got beaten. They're like, we're chilling.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Then we have Loki trying to save everybody,
and like literally, and of all people, it's Loki.
It's
Like
Loki.
it's 2012 Loki. That's the thing, though.
Exactly.
That's also another thing that makes it so crazy. It's 2012 Loki, but yeah, man. This show is awesome. I wanted to ask you guys what you guys thought of the whole I thought this episode, I wanted to touch on this, is one of the most emotional episodes we've had in the Loki series, at least in season 2, sorry, I should say, so far, because that conversation he has with Sylvie, where he really realizes that he thought he was doing it because everybody deserved to have their own choice, but in reality, he was just being selfish and just wanted his friends back and like the TVA back and like life as he knew it back or whatever. I mean, I still do believe he cares about them having their own choice, but but like clearly the true meaning of it all for him really is he wants his friends back. Like he doesn't know where he like kind of stands in the world without what he's known for the last however long he's been at the TVA, So so that conversation with Sylvie I thought was very deep, was very emotional, and to see him cry a little, was like really powerful, I thought. And for him to go back and kind of be like kind of give them opposite of like what he's been saying the entire episode of like, no, we need to do this, and now he's like, no, actually we don't need to do anything, and I just have to accept this even though it sucks. And then the spaghettification starts. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on that idea
of this spaghettification. Or like
well,
in general?
yes, but no. I mean, right now I'm specifically talking about, I guess, like the emotional side of Loki in that part.
Well, this season, especially after he, met with Khan, with He Who Remained, I would say, he had an emotional breakdown, pretty much. Like every time he has a chance to express the threat that they're facing, he breaks inside, because nobody understands
no
him.
One's fully...
And the only person who understands him is Sylvie, and Sylvie is the most stubborn character ever.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't want to do anything about it, right? And even though she knows that Loki might have some points in regards of, we can't really give people free will, we have to somehow not control them, but we have to guide them through, so they can, eventually take some, free decisions. But eventually, like at the end of the day, they're playing with everybody's lives, they have everybody's lives in the palm of their hands.
Exactly. That's what I thought. Or Alex, if you want to talk about that.
Actually, yeah, because this season has definitely been like probably the most character has really been like mainly focused on like the whole development of Loki as a character and how much he's changed, as well as kind of like an enlightened feeling he has. Because like in that scene when he's breaking down, talking to Sylvie, like he does realize that he's been doing this whole job for the TVA for like just the purpose of like working, helping, and then like he later has a connection with all of them. Like he sees it as his home, but then when he sees that everyone is basically happy in their own branch timelines and things like that, and he's just alone because that's been his greatest fear, him being alone. But then just showing that he wants his friends, like it's a bit selfish, but he's had these people for like however long he's been working around with the TVA with this whole time. And then just seeing like without them, without TVA, he doesn't have purpose. He doesn't have anything. He's like literally someone with like no story to like
where
open
would
or
he
finish.
go? All this sense, he can't go back to his timeline. Like, how is he gonna come back to his timeline now? There's another Loki there, like.
Yeah, it's probably a very lonely feeling, and that's probably exactly what he felt. Especially when he came back and had to kind of break the news of his epiphany that he kind of had and that Sylvie helped him have. He was probably so lonely. But then, we'll touch on this as the last point, the spaghettification.
Mhm.
I just want to personally say this quickly before I hand it off to you guys. Props to Marvel because the VFX in this series as a whole, from episode 1 of season 1 up to current, has been flawless, bar none, top notch. I mean, truly, the VFX and everything that they're doing in this show, it's like, why can't we get whatever y'all are doing here everywhere else? You know, but
and they
really
like literally in the
solid.
movies, like literally put that stuff in the movies. What y'all doing? What's your budget?
Always and the other shows too.
And yeah, some of the other shows too.
Yeah,
but,
definitely. Like She-Hulk. Dude, put some more money into She-Hulk with the VFX. Come on.
Yeah, but not to go down that rabbit hole because I know we can.
Yeah, so yeah, put a pin in that for for any time other.
Right, literally, like, excuse me, literally when Sylvie was like at the record shop and everything was starting to spaghettify, but this is like the first time we're seeing pretty much like everything in the frame spaghettify.
Scary. Yeah.
Bro, I was losing it. I was losing it.
I was in a dark place when that happened.
Man, I had my jaw dropped on the floor. Like seriously, my jaw was dropping.
Dude, and the craziest part about it was, at least for me, is how it ended before she went into the door with the temp pad. If you realize, everything was spaghetti, but like black.
Yeah,
it was just all black.
I've only felt like this twice in the MCU. In Infinity War, obviously, with the snap.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in What If, episode 4 with Doctor Strange, when he destroys his universe and everything starts to kind of like liquefy, melt away, and then he like the blackness gets like shorter, like smaller and smaller.
Yeah, where it builds up, it gets bigger and bigger as he gets smaller and smaller, and like the whole blackness as he's destroying his own universe.
Reality, yeah.
What about Alex? Your thoughts on that, on the spaghettification?
Dude, I could like my reaction to that was like I said, I'm jaw was like literally dropping, seeing everything just becoming spaghettified, including seeing like the dude who works at the record shop basically trying to run over to Sylphie, trying to warn her, and where he tries to reach his hand out, and then he's just literally just like turning into spaghetti right in front of Rive, where he's just like gone to like that's the spaghetti and saying like that, and then seeing everything around her just becoming spaghettified right under her, like every which way, until she then decided to use a little device thing that she had gotten from like Kang's room at the end of time to basically go to the TVA. But that filled me like so much dread. Like her universe that's her branch time that she's been in, it's like just gone. Everything that she had wanted for like a good easy life just gone. So then like her only
worker gone.
Yeah,
McDonald's is literally poof.
Bro, all I could think of was the McDonald's. I was like, dude, those fries are gone, bro. Come on.
That little butt she lived in,
gone.
But also, this is a good thing because it finally made Sylvie realize, okay, some crazy shit's going on. And
we need the TVA.
We need to do something about it because if not, I can't have this peaceful life I desire to have.
Yeah.
So it kind of forced her into that, which like wish it didn't get this far, but better late than never, I guess.
Which again is kind of like hypocritical because now she's doing it also because of selfish reasons.
Selfish reasons.
If her universe wouldn't have been spaghettified, she would have shown up, to help Loki and the rest of the crew.
True. She wouldn't have lifted a finger without that event.
Yeah, she would have looked away,
Yep. She would have just kept going to the pub, chilling in her truck, and working at McDonald's, and going to the record shop. I agree. But we'll see how that plays out. I have a feeling by the end of this next finale, that relationship that Loki and Sylvie had at one point will kind of hopefully mend a little bit more.
To be honest,
because right now it's like not a vibe.
I'm a little disappointed that in this season they haven't really addressed the kiss, which is a big major point in last season because throughout every episode there was this like chemistry between them two. Obviously they're both Lokis, but this romantic chemistry.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they finally had the kiss, which everybody was waiting for. We're happy for Loki because we know how much he loves her.
Yeah.
We know how much he has suffered. So we want the
Definitely.
best for Loki.
Yeah.
He got the kiss, and then he got pushed away, and they haven't addressed that in this season, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Actually, I'm good that you brought that up, Jorge, because I can kind of see a theory about this. What could happen for like the final episode for next week? I can see it going kind of like this, where like Loki decides to be the one to go out and fix the temporal loom himself, but like with just like no suit, because it's gonna require him using his time slipping abilities to like be able to handle all that like temporal radiation and things like that. And I'm pretty sure before he goes out there, him and Sylvie were probably gonna have like a little heart to heart, maybe discussing about their feelings with each other, her own reasons of like kind of like rejecting the TVA and not fully, going with like Loki's idea of hope for the TVA and like changing things and doing a better job than what He Who Remains did with like the variant timelines and stuff like that. So maybe that can give like some good like emotional opening between the two, and then I don't know anything about what could happen after when Loki survives to go through it, but like that's mostly my theory on how that can go. That's about the only thing I can come up with.
I don't hate it. I think it's fair. I think that's kind of a similar thing. I mean, I didn't have specifics, but a similar kind of place of where I was coming from with them kind of mending their relationship in a way, because I just have a feeling the stuff that's about to go down next week is so grand, and she's involved now, that there's no way they have that conversation like that, the one you speak of, or something.
And it hasn't really been nurtured throughout the season to have.
No, it's been the complete opposite of nurtured,
like
for sure. It's been neglected.
Avoided.
It's neglected.
Yeah, but that's all because like Sylvie just be trying to like just want to get away from the whole entire thing, from the TVA, from Loki and everything.
Yeah, she's hard headed. She's hard headed, but we'll see.
But I mean, but at this point, for this specifically, I will put it more on the writers than on the character itself.
How come?
Like that the writers of season 2, didn't
decided to go that route.
Correct.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
instead of the character, because she was still very strong in season 1, but she still managed to catch some feelings for Loki when they were in episode 3 in the planet that was getting like fully destroyed.
Yeah. I remember.
She was vulnerable. We haven't seen Sylvie emotionally vulnerable in this season.
Yeah, and I think the most actually came in that conversation.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't much, but it was the most.
Something, I believe.
It was something, yes.
Yeah.
So here's hoping next week we get some more into that. With we hopefully next week we get into the finale, we get some of that. So we'll see.
Also, lastly, just in case Marvel is watching this, please make your really, really, really good shows 8 episodes and not 6. Please. And like you can like shorten the ones that aren't that good that you decide to make, or 8 or 10
eliminate
episodes.
them like all over and like.
Yeah. If you guys have an opinion about that, let us know. Do you guys agree with that? Should Marvel make their seasons for these really good episodes or really good seasons longer? Because we're kind of annoyed, I think is the correct word, at the fact that they make them 6 episodes and not say at least 8.
I think season 1 was perfect 6 episodes, to be honest. But
like they could have gone.
Right. But this season, they definitely needed a little more episodes.
Yeah, especially with that 3 episode beginning of how kind of slow and vague, it would definitely push this to 8.
Yeah.
Definitely push this to 8. And I mean, and here's the thing, Alex. It's not going to be pushed to 8. And even if it was pushed to 8, it would still have the same type of ending that we are about to see next week. Open-ended, not full resolution, where it has to be resolved in a different season of something or a movie or something. Because there are way too many big of things, consequences, topics going on in this season for it to be resolved in just these, next 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever they decide to give us. Quick side note, though. Thank you for the longer episode on episode 5. It was longer. That was good. But do you guys have anything else to say on Loki season 2, episode 5?
Yes, I do want to mention real quick a theme that has been throughout the whole season, which is the Ouroboros. This like this snake who bites his own head. Its own tail. Again, in this episode, we have so many hints of the Ouroboros, and somehow I feel that He Who Remains, again, planned this out. And it's just going to keep repeating. Because we think that it was He Who Remained who pulled the workers from the TVA from their timelines. But now it's kind of Loki doing it, right? So imagine that Loki is the one pulling, for example, Obi and bringing him to the TVA, and then in the future, that Obi is gonna be the same Obi that Loki just met, in the first episode of season 2, and it's like a whole cycle, you know. And again, with Victor Timely, I think He Who Remained used some of his variants as well to kind of like put his timeline in order, because like Victor Timely had a technology that they didn't have the TVA, which is the one that allow them to make the time
the
temporal loom bigger.
Yeah.
Although obviously it didn't work because the radiation at that point was too much, and
Yeah.
he got spaghettified. But he had a technology that He Who Remained didn't have. So I think somehow He Who Remained kind of planned everything out in an Ouroboros way. So he pulls resources from different people, different moments, and different characters to make everything work.
And just kind of cycle.
And just kind of cycle, yep.
That would actually be kind of interesting because, like, in comics, that's kind of what Kang does, where he kind of goes into different parts of time to kind of like gather up resources or sets things up earlier on to be paved the way in the future for him to be able to defeat other heroes, superheroes that he faces along the way. It's really kind of a long-term time travel type plan. So, like, honestly, I would actually like that because honestly, I do kind of see what you're talking about. There's a bit of that going on with like OB and what he represents. Yeah. So, like,
it's very
I
subtle.
can see that.
Like it's not He Who Remained who's hiring the workers. It's literally Loki doing it right now. He's being the cause of them taken out of their timelines and being put in the TVA. And then they were the ones complaining that they don't have free will, so it's kind of like tricky, but I'm like paying a lot of attention to it because again, his theme of this season has been the Ouroboros,
Yeah.
the cycle.
Yeah. One other theory I also thought of, like, if Victor Timely is then brought back in like the final episode, and then like they feel out they don't really need him that much anymore, and they send him back to his own time, would that also kind of set up himself as like He Who Remains variant 2 in like some part of the branch timeline thing, like he's leaving something behind with OB, and like OB would kind of somehow kind of plays into that somehow for the future in some type of way. In a way that kind of makes sense, because then I could also kind of see it going where like B-15 in the final episode for this season is going to help like lead the TVA into like a new direction where it doesn't have to go the same way as He Who Remains and like the Kang variants, since it's like since there's like a new multiversal war on the horizon coming up and like other things, and like how like Marvel is now trying to put like all these different universes and stuff together for like Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that as well. You got some good theories, I'll tell you. But good job paying attention, because you're right. That does not seem far fetched. That guy is always also like Kang's always like 10,000 steps ahead. So it's like he's like the toughest villain.
Like he literally has everything planned out till the moment he died. But do we really believe him if everything is Ouroboros? Everything repeats itself every single time.
He kind of just. It's almost like he's the puppet master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like playing with them, with their minds.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you'll see me later, and then winks at you.
Yeah. I think I'm like more as more like the tool that's like the focal point of everything, as like one person left as like a backup or like as some kind of secret backup,
Yeah.
But anything else, Alex?
I do actually want to mention how mention like these different variants of Loki's friends, like OB, where his version is like a sci-fi writer and a theoretical physicist, and he goes by the name A.D. Doug, and he's placed in like 1994 Pasadena, California. And like this is funny scene here where it's literally where he literally makes a TemPad like 18 to 19 months later, but then he found out how basically he had to move out of his own house and his wife left him. I thought that's kind of funny, but that's also kind of sad, like how Loki kind of explains it to him when he first meets him, and then he makes a new TemPad, but they're like, oh yeah, I helped you, I made this, but my wife kicked me out of the house and then she left me, so
yeah. I think that's another moment of this season. Excuse me. I think it's been done really well where we've had these little small comedic relief moments, but they're not pushing it at all. Like it's completely
Very fitting.
very fitting, very okay, totally fits. It's not being pushed at all. So like just another
It feels natural.
natural, exactly. That's the word, natural. Yeah. So I think that was another one of those moments where I have yet to feel like there's been a comedic moment in this season where it feels pushed. I think all of them have felt supernatural, super fitting, completely just natural. That's the word. Yeah, 100%. But I did think that was funny. With that being said, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. This was our Loki season 2, episode 5 recap, review, discussion. I speak for everybody. I think when I say we all give it 2 thumbs up. We're very excited for the finale of this show next week. We can't wait to bring you guys a series review. Next week's video will be a series review. We're gonna, season review, I should say. We're gonna review the season as a whole, but obviously talk all things the finale and what comes out of that. If you like videos like this, don't forget to subscribe because it does help us out. And if you like this video, please let us know by hitting that thumbs up button down there because, again, it really does help us out. And we really want to talk to you guys about this. Loki is crazy right now. There's so much revolving around Loki in the MCU and Marvel as a whole. So please talk to us. Let us know what your thoughts on Loki are. If you're watching it, if you're not watching it, what are your thoughts? Whatever it is, we want to know. So hit us in the comment section down below and follow us on social media at The Big Screen Show _ on Instagram. Come interact with us. But with that being said, we'll catch you guys next week for the finale. Peace out.
Peace.